Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the debut episode of Guys Hiding from Their Wives, the podcast that's uncensored, unscripted, and just about anything and everything you want to talk about. I'm Big Ben here with Magic Mike, Alexander the Great, and of course, with us is TK. How you guys doing tonight?
Great, man. How are you?
Good, good. It is Thursday night, June 14th, 2018. We've hit kind of a slow time in the sports world, which is why I bet you're glad to have us with you. We're going to keep you up to date on everything we hear going on, offer my expert insight.
Almost
with
expert.
Pretty heavy sarcasm on the expert there. So, first off, I mean, I guess it's kind of big news. The United States, Canada, and Mexico you put together a united bid for the 2026 World Cup, which I think goes pretty well since the 2018 World Cup happened to start this morning. So, I mean, don't know if you guys are terribly huge soccer fans, but what's your feelings on this? I mean,
go ahead, man.
I think it's huge. It's going to be the first tri-hosted World Cup in World Cup history. It's never been hosted by 3 different countries at one time. I think it's huge for the soccer world, and I think it's going to start something interesting, something fun.
Definitely interesting, and it is worth noting that will be the first time that the FIFA World Cup features a 48-team field in the tournament.
Yeah, it's going to be a big field. Kind of like Alex touched on, I think it's an amazing opportunity for all 3 countries. I'm excited to see kind of how they run the financial part. It's going to be kind of interesting to see who makes more money off like the marketing and stuff like that. But I don't want to go too much into that, but soccer itself, I think it's going to be good for the players and good for the fans. A lot more stadiums to go to. Ticket sales are going to be great for that. And I'm just going to put it out here now. Spain's probably going to win that too.
Spain wins most of them anymore.
Yeah.
But no, I think it's a huge deal for soccer in this country. Soccer has never been a huge part of the American sporting world, and I think going along with what went on in '94 when we had the World Cup here, I think it's going to be a big deal to try to help to bring it into the U.S. again.
Okay, my turn, I guess. I know nothing about soccer. The last time I heard anything about soccer, Pele was still a big name in playing, and why is it that all the great soccer players have one name, like divas in the music world? I have no clue what's going on in soccer. I hate soccer. I have no interest in it. Sorry.
So if we start talking about Madonna scoring a kick from 18 yards out,
that would make as much sense as soccer does to me.
To be
Awesome.
fair, most of them are divas. Most of them are prima donnas, specifically within the Premier League and Bundesliga. They're big, big babies.
You'd be surprised. You would be surprised. But that's enough of that, since obviously, we're not big on a whole lot of soccer. I just did want to touch base on that, mention that to you guys. Again, we're kind of at a slow point in the sporting world. We have finished the NBA Finals. We finished the Stanley Cup Finals within the last week. Congratulations to the Washington Capitals winning the first Stanley Cup in their franchise's history. And I don't know about you guys. I've never been much into hockey. I do know there was a little bit of an increase with the Golden Knights this year, right here close to us in Vegas. But the absolute joy seeing on the faces of Alexander Ovechkin and the rest of his teammates for a team that has suffered for so long, for them to finally get over that hump, win that Stanley Cup. I mean, it was just great to see from a sports fan's perspective, whether you're a hockey fan or not.
Well, and specifically, the Capitals and Ovechkin are the most, purest hockey-loving team that there is. There's not a lot of drama in them. They're just a team that loves to play hockey, and they've just been doing it the way they want to do it, and it finally paid off for them.
I think another thing that kind of gets overshadowed a little bit, and what you guys are talking about, is you have 2 teams in the finals that have never... This is their first title. This would have been their first title either way, and I think that's a big accomplishment, especially the Knights. They can only go up from here, right?
Well, for the Golden Knights coming in, you're an expansion team making the league finals is absolutely unheard of. They were 500 to 1 odds to win the Stanley Cup at the beginning of the season. I mean, that is ridiculous. If you'd have told me that they were going to be in the Stanley Cup Finals, I'd have looked at you, I'd have laughed at you, I'd have told you were funnier looking than my sister's ex-wife.
Well, I mean, I don't even think anybody expected them to make the playoffs, let alone make it to the Cup Finals. And I got lucky enough to be in Vegas during the playoffs, and the support that team has gotten just through the city of Vegas, like, it was all over. They put the Statue of Liberty at the New York in a nice jersey, and I think just for the sake of the team itself, that's an amazing accomplishment to even gain that big of a fan base in a city that's mostly tourism.
Well, this is their first real team that they've had, and going forward, Vegas is going to have a much bigger presence in the sports world with the Raiders moving there, beginning play in 2020. It's just great to see what's going on with the city of Vegas. And from a Raiders standpoint, Magic Mike here, he's one of the biggest Raiders fans I know, which is surprising that we get along so well.
Well, yeah. It's Raiders fan growing up my whole life, live and die, silver and black. But over the years, I've come to appreciate more players and what they've accomplished, and I've become more of a football fan than just a straight-on Raiders fan. True, I hate the Broncos. True, I hate the Chiefs, and everybody that's ever played for them.
That comes with the territory, though.
But now that Elway's retired and gone, I say, yeah, he was one of the greatest quarterbacks ever. I can say that no problem. When he was playing, I hated his guts. I wanted him to break his spine every game. That's the way it is because he was that good. And one thing about your hockey note, see if this makes sense to some of you guys out there. I do not watch professional hockey. The only probably hockey player I've ever heard of, Gordie Howe and Wayne Gretzky. But that being said, watching Olympic hockey, the USA team, I watch it all the time. It's great. I love it.
Phenomenal.
But I cannot watch professional hockey. I just can't get into it. I've been to a few games up in Salt Lake and watched them play. I enjoy it. I watch the games. It's not bad at all. But I will not sit at home and actually watch a hockey game on TV. I just can't do it unless it's the USA Olympics.
Well, and see, and that's kind of the same being for me. I catch the highlights here and there just because, I check ESPN, I check all the major sports news outlets. But the thing that kind of got me into it this year is, and I think it's with a lot of people that don't get into hockey normally, is the Cinderella story of the Las Vegas Knights. And I may sound like I'm riding the Knights bandwagon here a little bit, and I probably am. But I think it's great for the city. I think this is a great intro to bring the Raiders into. I think the Raiders are going to transition easier with a successful team right now, if that makes any sense. I know they're going to bring their own fan base anyway. That's,
Well, no, that makes perfect sense. It's going to make it a lot easier for them to come in to a city, into an atmosphere now that's used to winning, which we all know. I'm sorry, Mike, but the Raiders haven't had a lot of that going on in recent years. Not that I minded any, but that's neither here nor there. That's irrelevant to the point.
Well, that's what always happens when a team does move. If you're not successful right away, the seating, the ticket sales go way down. When the Rams first moved to St. Louis, it was trouble. They
couldn't fill that stadium
Exactly.
for the first how many games that they had.
Well, even in LA right now, they're still struggling at some point. And they're being successful.
That's what scares me about Vegas is there is so much to do there. If the Raiders are not successful early and win a lot of games early, they could flounder big time.
I think the one advantage they're going to have is in Vegas, there's not a ton going on a Sunday. It's going to make the hotels cheaper for the people going to watch the games.
On Sundays, you recover from your hangover.
Well, hey,
what better to recover from a hangover than watching Las Vegas Raiders football?
Exactly.
Makes me want to puke as it is.
I say they'll help you puke if they play like they normally do.
I mean, they can give out hangover beers and, I think building that winning culture, in the city, having that expectation, I think with Gruden coming in and then going to a new city with a winning culture, hopefully he can get the team on track this year because I like having a league. I'm not a Raiders fan. I'm for the Steelers. Nobody likes me.
But with the young team, if the Raiders can win early, it could be way beneficial if they can win.
Absolutely.
Exactly. And I think they have the keys to do that and set that winning culture. If Gruden can get those players behind him, I mean, I'm sorry, but the Patriots aren't the Patriots without Bill Belichick.
And the referees and the league.
Well,
let's not go there.
true, but you know what I'm saying. Like he's built.
It was a fumble.
It was a fumble.
Tuck rule, baby. Don't bring up that subject around Mike. He gets a little upset.
Yeah, but I mean, it's building that winning culture, and the same being for Pittsburgh with Terry Bradshaw and Bill Cowher, stuff like that. Oh yeah, but yeah, with Bill Cowher and building that kind of winning atmosphere, I think it'll help build the team that way. And so, along with football, what do you guys? How do you feel on the Odell Beckham wanting a new contract and the Giants kind of having a little bit of problems successfully doing that?
If I was the Giants, I'd say you be healthy for a full season. We'll talk.
That's exactly it. I don't know that they want to go out and shell out the dollars to pay this guy what he wants.
Especially where they're having salary cap issues as is, where Beckham seems to think he's hot shit, where in reality he's just okay.
He's a receiver.
Well, and that's the problem is receivers feel like anymore, with it being a passing league, and I can kind of understand from their point, they feel like they should be one of the higher paid players in the NFL, which I don't really agree with, because if you don't have an offensive line, that quarterback's never going to have time to get you that ball anyway. Odell Beckham, I don't really agree with Alex. I think he's an above average wide receiver. I don't think he's elite yet, but he is definitely above average, and he does deserve a paycheck. But I don't know if I move on him, like trade him, kind of like it's been talked about. Just because even with Eli moving out, maybe in the next couple of years, you have a core there with bringing in Barkley that you can build on and bring a young quarterback into that's amazing.
Here's the thing.
Weapons.
If you can push forward and you want to push forward with Odell Beckham as one of your centerpieces. Now, don't get me wrong. The Giants are offensively loaded. I mean, you've got Odell Beckham Jr., they just drafted, in my mind, the best player in the draft in Saquon Barkley. In the second round, they went out and they grabbed Will Hernandez, that guard out of UTEP. He's going to shore up that offensive line like mad. And if you can do that and you can keep Eli Manning healthy, sure, Eli Manning's not going to go out and pull a Tom Brady. He's not going to be one of the elite quarterbacks, the top three in the league, who's going to go out and win for you. But he's also not going to go out and lose. And I think if you can put enough pieces, I think that you have the ability to succeed there in New York with some of the things that they've brought in and what they're trying to do. Now, that being said, if Beckham can stay healthy is the biggest issue. I think if not, he's leaving at the end of this season regardless if you don't extend him.
So if he does leave at the end of the season, where does he go? Like, where would you like to see Beckham end up? Where do you think that he would be most valuable as a wide receiver?
I think I think you're looking too far if you ask me that. Just because I don't know, if somebody's going to tear an ACL looking down the road, I don't know where he's going to fit the best because I can't tell you what's going to happen leading into the offseason. I don't know who's going to have holes.
Okay,
so
here's the thing. Here's the thing. It's a whole nother league now. It is a passing league, like you said. It's not like when Tim Bannon was with the Raiders. It's not like with Jerry Rice is with the 49ers. You can put another guy alongside of him, and he'll pull the double teams, and a John Taylor can pick it up. It's not like Megatron when he first came in the league. Now you got 3 receiver sets, you got a tight end, and you got a back coming out of the backfield that catches a lot of passes now. A lot of the backs nowadays are catching 70, 80 balls.
Well, they're going to...
You got too many weapons for one guy to command that kind of money that he wants. You just can't do it.
Well, and exactly. Well, it's like Le'Veon Bell. He wants to be paid as a number one running back and a number 2 receiver, and it's just it's kind of expected. Does he deserve to be paid that well? Maybe. But is he going to be paid that well? Maybe by the Browns, but nobody that has any sense. They know they can pay that much to somebody else and have them do just about as good a job. If not, fall into somebody better. So that leads into the problem. Do you pay these guys, or do you just run a next man up system, which it's proved to work?
Well, OBJ is still living off of a good rookie year with a great catch. That catch is still seen. on highlight films. It was a great catch, and he's made 2 of them like that. And he's living off that huge rookie year he had, and now he wants to be paid for like he's done it for 10 years.
Well, and it's not going to happen. I mean, Odell Beckham Jr., yeah, he had a great rookie season, but then after that, he's a highlight reel, but he's real spotty. If the guy can do it on a consistent basis and perform at that level,
he disappears.
And that's just it. You'll see one highlight out of him a game,
and
but that's his only catch for 13 yards.
Kicking net.
Exactly. Well, and I think also you have to, not even looking at on the field, you have to take in his off the field. He's got a big personality. I'm not going to say he's got a bad personality or a good. He's got a big personality, and
it leads to trouble more often than not.
It does.
Look at Plaxico Burress.
Exactly. Does he become a locker room cancer at that point? And do you want to pay a locker room cancer? Where, the Raiders have moved wide receivers pretty much for the same reason. Good players, but locker room cancers. And I think look at Martavis Bryant in Pittsburgh. Great player. You
can't keep him on the field because he's suspended for...
Exactly. And then when he's on the field, he's saying how he hates where he is, he wants more money, then he becomes a problem. And at what point do you want to pay a problem?
And see, there's teams like that, like say the Steelers, the Patriots, there's teams like that won't put up with it and you're gone. Other teams will take it because they need the help.
Well, and talking about the Patriots and Odell Beckham Jr., that kind of leads us into the next item on our list. Julian Edelman has a 4-game suspension right at the beginning of the season, and they've got room to hire another wide receiver. So do you think there's a possibility that New England could try and pick up Odell if New York was to end up trading him?
No. And the reason behind that is New England doesn't need Odell Beckham Jr. It doesn't matter. You could get me. You could go pull some homeless guy off the street, plug him in with Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, and the guy's going to catch 1,000 yards and win you a Super Bowl.
Okay.
He could be your Super Bowl MVP. New England doesn't need a Beckham. New England has all these role players around him, and I think Edelman's forgot that realistically that's what he is, in my opinion. I don't think that Julian Edelman can go to a team like a Cleveland and pull them out of a funk. I don't think Julian Edelman can go to San Diego and be that number one guy and have the kind of seasons that he's having with Tom Brady.
Well,
Sorry,
man.
Los Angeles, not San Diego.
Well, I thought you were a Broncos fan, but we might need to get you some knee pads for Bill Belichick. But no,
easy. Jeez, what the? I don't even know what's going on.
I know. I don't see him going to New England.
Freaking bullshit is what it is.
Just because I'm kind of with him. I don't think they need him. I don't think.
No, don't agree with me now. Not after that shit you just said.
Right.
I'm kissing up now.
Could I see him going there? I mean, crazier things have happened. They brought in Brandon Cooks last year. And that's also kind of why they don't need him. They have talent in the wide receiver slot, and I think they have other problems to address.
They thought they had a diva and someone whose career was over when they brought in Randy Moss, and all he did was help set the touchdown record.
Yeah, that's exactly
and that's true. And unfortunately, Bill Belichick does have a way of taking these big personalities and make them work. So could I see him maybe going there? Maybe. It's doubtful. I could see him going somewhere like the Jets over. And I think he would like to go to the Jets to kind of rub it in the face of the Giants.
The Jets would pick someone up at 62 if they could get a big name.
And they would pay $150 million.
Of course.
On a completely unrelated note, there appears there may be a job opening for a new host. Go ahead and email us at 4guyshiding@gmail.com.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry. This might be my last last week.
One side note real quick before we get too crazy with the football and the soccer and all the semi-important stuff. Let's talk about something really important. This weekend, all the Carbon All-Star teams are going to Richfield to play ball. So good luck to all them teams and good luck to all them All-Stars.
Absolutely. Good luck here in the state of Utah. This Carbon All-Star team, if I'm not mistaken, this is their 5th straight state title they're gunning for.
Yeah,
I believe that is what it was. So, I mean, that's incredible. I don't care at any level. It's amazingly tough to win 5 straight titles. But, I mean, these are 11 and 12-year-old kids doing it. It's just out of control.
The last time there was something that dominant was when someone named Jordan Buscarini put together a bowling fundraiser tournament.
Oh, and here it
And the
comes.
four
Here
horsemen,
it comes.
the four horsemen from the apocalypse won 4 straight titles. Unprecedented.
Well, while we're bringing up ancient history here, no, I'm just kidding.
We can talk Raiders if we go into
I will.
history.
I will give you the congratulations there.
Hey, well-
in case you were concerned, I was on the losing end of a couple of those. But
All right, let's switch gears here real quick. So we're not talking about football the whole episode. Let's jump down to the NBA side of things with LeBron possibly going to the Lakers at some point. I know the Lakers also want to pull in Paul George from Oklahoma City. Like, why wouldn't they? They also want Kawhi Leonard as well. They want to have this. They want to make a power team for them this next year. They want to be the ones in NBA championship discussions.
And we talked about it. It goes with the culture of winning. If you're a Los Angeles Lakers fan, you're used to winning. I think this is one of the longest droughts that they've had in their history that they're without a title. It's just what you do. It's like the New York Yankees in baseball, the Montreal Canadiens in the NHL. It's just like the Dallas Cowboys of the 90s in the NFL.
Or the Pittsburgh Steelers ever.
Or, it's one of those things. The Los Angeles Lakers are used to winning. And at this point, they've got a lot of young talent there. Don't get me wrong, I do love a lot of these guys. If they pull in LeBron James, I don't know that they still beat Golden State at this point. But I think it's a lot closer than anybody else in the West has been up to this point.
Okay, well, so you bring in a LeBron James, you bring in a Paul George, you bring in Kawhi Leonard. I'm still not as impressed as I am with Golden State. They paid one superstar to come in. The other 3 pieces to that team, they've drafted. So that's telling me that's a team that is set up. They've drafted well. And I mean, look at the Jazz. They moved one piece to bring, and they brought in Donovan Mitchell that nobody thought was going to be a game changer like he was this year, and he I mean, without him, I don't see us making the playoffs.
Oh, he can ball, man.
Yeah, like
Without Donovan Mitchell, the Jazz are nowhere in the equation. Just like, and you'll see a lot of those teams that find that diamond in the rough. And what's unfortunate for a small market team like the Jazz, Donovan Mitchell's going to play out his rookie contract here, and then he is going to get paid.
When has that ever happened to the Jazz?
He's not going to get
Every
paid by the
player
Jazz.
ever in the history of the Jazz, except for Malone and Stockton, left for more money. Everybody.
And it's the atmosphere of the league right now. That's
Lou
what
Edwards,
it is.
Shandon Anderson.
yeah, well,
I mean, you can go through a whole list of
well,
them.
and payers want to get, they want to get paid.
Payers want to get played.
Yeah,
Keep that in
payers
mind.
want to get played.
I can tell you this, though. You put LeBron James, just him, on any team that didn't make the playoffs, and they will be in the playoffs.
Oh, that's it. The guy gets a lot of hate. Dude has been to 8 straight NBA finals.
He's tough.
I
He
don't
is.
care who you are. The guy is he's a phenomenal basketball player.
He's the closest thing I would consider to a modern day Michael Jordan. He's the closest thing we have in this age to someone as good and as dominant that Michael Jordan was. LeBron James is that person.
Well, and I think you look at it, I don't think a lot of people now, all these haters, don't realize how great of an opportunity it is to watch somebody do what he has done to the game of basketball.
And see, I'm on the opposite spectrum. I don't agree with you guys. I think he has been catered to. This is the team that he wanted, and he couldn't get the job done. So I have respect. I'll have respect for him if he stays in Cleveland. If he stays in Cleveland, he takes this team back, and he wins. Then I'll respect him. But until then, I mean, yes, he's a great player. I'm not going to take that away from the guy. But this is the Cleveland team. I mean, he's pretty much handpicked these guys. Am I wrong?
No, he's got a lot to say in it. The thing I don't like, this is the only thing I don't like about people when they compare eras and players, Jordan to Wilt, Chamber. I mean, the players, comparing LeBron to anybody else right now, it's almost impossible because LeBron didn't play 4 years of college or 3 years of college. They say, oh yeah, well he's got this many points, this many stats. You got to take away the college because before college was mandatory. You had to go 3 years.
That's how it is
4.
now. You cannot jump straight from the high school to the NBA
and it's
anymore.
not fair to compare numbers to numbers. It's apples to oranges. You can't, compare all that stuff. It's hard.
And it's like putting, you can't compare these guys because it's a totally different league. Who's to say that Michael Jordan could be successful in a league like this?
I will say this, in just my personal opinion, the old school teams of the 70s and 80s, I think, were tougher
Well, you had to be.
to play. And now they're prima donnas. They all they do is shoot and gun. Bill Laimbeer, I hated the Pistons. Bill Laimbeer, Joe Dumars, them guys,
bad boys,
they
Dennis
would
Rodman.
shut down about any team playing right now and give them they would give them a battle more than you've seen in this NBA Finals this year. I guarantee it.
Well, and I was talking to somebody about it today. You know, even you look at really the Jazz. If Karl Malone wouldn't have let Rodman in his head, and Rodman and him pretty much fought the whole way down the court, the Jazz could have been, you know, NBA champions right now if the rules were the same then as it is now. But it's not. So you have players getting, again, catered to and babied, and, you know, even in football, any sport anymore, it's hard to play a physical game. It really is.
It is. It's a completely different age.
The athletes now, bigger, stronger, faster. I agree. They just are. But you know what? They're not as tough.
They're not as tough.
They're not as tough.
Because they don't have to be. I mean, you look at it. There was the game, which, since you brought him up, Karl Malone. Isaiah Thomas drives to the hole. Karl Malone,
Drops an
whether
elbow.
it was inadvertent or not,
Elbow
hits him
smash.
with the people's elbow right in the friggin' face, bloodies him all over the court. If that were to happen in today's NBA, holy cow.
Oh, he's suspended
Forget
3
about it.
games.
He's
Easy.
suspended more than that.
Yeah,
I
you know,
can promise
like
you
he's
that.
suspended, and there's no question about it.
Yeah, and going back to the numbers game, just real quick, one last time, it's the same in all sports. They're talking about, like, today's playoffs games. Oh, well, he's got better numbers than Jerry Rice. Well, when Jerry Rice played, there was one wild card team. You had your division winner, you had one wild card team. Oh, you know, the Raiders in 81 won the Super Bowl as a wild card team. They're the only team to do it. Well, since then, like, 5 teams have done it or more.
Yeah.
But that's because now there's 17,000
There's just so
more playoff games. You cannot compare the new time and the old time. You just can't do it.
Just doesn't happen. Now, while we're still here on the NBA, before we move on, when we were talking the other night, Mike, you said something, and I want to touch base on this. I don't know how many people fell asleep during these post-game interviews. Steph Curry, LeBron James's post-game interviews. Go ahead, Mike. I want you to bring up the point that you brought up the other night while we were talking about this.
Okay, it's happened about 8 million times. After every game, during every game, every interview, these players, basketball, 82 games, baseball, 162 games, football, all these games, they get asked the same questions time and time and time again. They get sick of it. They get tired of it. It's rhetoric to them. It's repetitious. It gets annoying. And one of the questions that got me going the other day was one of the reporters asked Steph Curry when it was 3-0, do you really want to win in Cleveland? Wouldn't you want to win it at home in front of the fans? And it's like, what's he going to say? No, I want to lose.
No, I want to lose.
I
Game
want to
4.
lose, and I want to take a chance on blowing a 3-0 lead that's never been done before so I can win it at home in front of our fans. No one cares where you play. Wouldn't it be great? Just one time, if that NBA player says, if he just went all WWE like Ric Flair,
Woo!
woo! And I got it down to a science. I could do it for you. I don't know if you guys want to hear it or not, but
Well, let me tell you something, Mean Gene.
Oh.
I want to see LeBron James. They're asking him after, LeBron, you just lost 4-0 to the Warriors. What are you going to do? Well, we're going to come out and we're going to try to regroup. We're going to try to bring in some players for next year. No, I don't want to see that. I want to be him. Well, let me tell you something, brother. We're going to come out. We're going to go get the Macho Man. We're going to just go off on this tangent. I want to see these guys get riled up. You know, I want to see the passion for the game to get out there. Oh, we're coming back. What you going to do, brother, when the LeBron Maniacs train, say their prayers, eat their vitamins, go wild on you?
because it's not like the old days when you knew the baseball players, the basketball players, they knew the sports writers. They knew them by name. They hung out with them, and the sports writers hid facts. Now it's a whole different world with social media and everything else. They want to get dirt. They want to get the dirty stuff. If you blow up on a reporter, every newscast is handling
everywhere
it,
is going to happen.
and they're saying what a jerk you are and what a clown you are, and they're ripping you and everything else, and you get tired of the same questions. No one wants to lose. No one wants to lose, and they make it like you're a pariah, like you're a bad guy because you get sick of hearing it all the time. How many times have you seen the guys walk out? I would love for them guys to just go totally 180 and do a WWE interview and just put them in their place. And if you had a little bit of fun with it, maybe the reporters would back off. I doubt it.
I want to see somebody tip a table over.
Oh,
Start
yeah.
throwing microphones.
It would,
Well,
you know.
Wait, okay, just imagine this. A couple years ago, instead of Marshawn Lynch, okay, he walks out of an interview a couple times, doesn't say anything, and then in the middle of an interview, Marshawn Lynch one day gets asked a question and puts an interviewer through a table. That would be amazing.
That'd be awesome.
You know?
Could you imagine the highlights that would have?
But some of these sports athletes, they do it at their own whim too. They won't talk. They mind your own business. You know, I don't have to talk to you. You know, but then when they do a commercial and you're going to pay me $50,000, oh yeah, I'll say
talk to
whatever
you
you
all day
want.
long.
Yeah,
Well,
and
and to me that's a problem, is because
It
at
goes
the end of
both
the day, the people watching is what pays them. Really and honestly, yeah, the owners pay them, whatever. But you have to have the entertainment factor to put butts in seats.
absolutely. That's why big, what's the word? Big names, big attitudes, big egos. It fuels the fire.
You know, WWE may be scripted, but you can't tell me that Hulk Hogan, John Cena, these guys, it's not the reason. The reason they have the audience is because of the entertainment factor alone.
Wrestling can get. You can be a wrestler and be a subpar wrestler if you have a good charisma, attitude, and interview.
Absolutely.
Well, and now we're on the subject of wrestling. We've got Money in the Bank coming up this Sunday. I've got it written down in the show notes. I just want to know what you guys think about Money in the Bank, or even if you're a wrestling fan, if you guys just want to talk about that.
Money in the Bank, my favorite wrestling. You can't really call them a pay-per-view anymore because, you don't call up and pay your cable company $50 or $60 or whatever to
Well,
order
you
this
can,
thing.
but you get a tub of KY with it now.
Well, that's neither here nor there. That goes for your weekend later on. We'll leave that
See, and
alone.
I have no problem with the WWE, but my thing is I haven't watched it really since like the 80s when Macho Man and Andre the Giant and, Lex Luger was still new, and Sting, them was I'm old school when it comes to the wrestling. I don't know any of the new stuff.
So I have a challenge.
Woo!
Yeah, so I have a challenge for you, Mike, because I watch wrestling. I watch all kinds of wrestling. I want you to search a guy, and I want you to watch a match between these two. I want you to watch Okada versus Kenny Omega.
Never heard of them.
Exactly. But I want you to watch the match, compare it to what used to go on, and I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. They take place in Japan, which is off subject a little bit from Money in the Bank. I'm excited about Money in the Bank. One of my favorite pay-per-views of the year. To me, WrestleMania was a letdown this year. Like I said, I'm a huge wrestling fan. So I'm excited to see what they do with Money in the Bank. It's a really good opportunity to bring some of these guys in that don't... It's an opportunity to give somebody a title shot that you never see them getting one otherwise. You can bring in a New Day member, let them win the briefcase.
Well, let's talk about that. In the Money in the Bank, there's 2 ladder matches. We have a men's one. And in the men's, we have The Miz, Braun Strowman, Rusev, Bobby Roode, Kevin Owens, Samoa Joe, and one member of the New Day. Nobody knows which yet. I just kind of want to know,
I'll tell you right now, it's going to be Big E.
Yeah, and I think it almost has to be Big E, and I could see him winning it. I think a Braun Strowman could win it too. I know Mike's not too big into WWE.
No,
now.
I have never heard of any of these people.
why don't you throw me out a guess based on just these guys' names? Why don't you just throw me a guess of who you think would win a ladder match?
Just by the name?
Just by the names.
And remember,
Samoa Joe is a good name.
Well, but I want
just
to
the way it
remind
is.
you that Money in the Bank falls on Rusev Day. That's all I want to say.
Okay, is he Russian or something? Rusev?
Bulgarian
Bulgarian.
brute. Rusev.
Oh, well, hey, the Bolsheviks, I remember them.
Yes.
Okay, and Ivan Putski, the Polish
Nikolai
Power,
Volkov.
Nikolai Volkov. Just out of left field, for no other reason, I'm going with The Miz.
And
That's a fair guess. The Miz is doing really good right now. The Miz is doing what a sports entertainer should do.
The Miz is the best worker, in my opinion, that the WWE has today.
I don't care who you are. The Miz is the Ric Flair of now.
Woo!
And I apologize if you're not a wrestling fan, just bear with us. But I think this does, it bears mentioning some of the things that The Miz is doing in the world of professional wrestling, sports entertainment, whatever you want to call it today, is incredible. The guy doesn't miss shows. The guy's one of the safest workers in the company. And the guy is one of the few legitimate bad guys out there.
He's the guy that you love to hate.
Yeah, exactly. He can get under your skin. He can get you to want to tune in every week just to see this guy lose and just to shut him up.
And if you guys aren't big wrestling fans, I do want you to think about this in a broad spectrum. These guys don't get an off season.
No, that's always been the case. They always are on the road
these guys,
over 300 days a year.
Yeah, these guys, they work every day of the year. They get like 2 weeks off unless they get injured, which it's a real possibility. The matches are scripted, but I want to see you jump off a ladder, go through a table. And not only do these guys have their obligations of just doing the matches, they do countless hours of charity work, countless hours of,
of interviews, of press time, and then also you gotta take into account the time that they try to spend with their families.
A lot of these wrestlers, even today, back in the day, it wasn't as much, but a lot of the wrestlers today, they actually spend time with the fans. Doing autograph signings, pictures, stuff like that.
And you touched on it a little bit too earlier about just the way it was in, and I don't even know where the hell I was going to go with that. Son of a bitch.
You want to hear a good story?
You're going to have to edit that out.
Actually, before we get into the story, let's take a quick break, and then we'll get right back into it.
Good, because I got to pee. All right, and we're back. Do I want to say that was a pretty successful pee break for all involved. I'm sorry about your leg, Trevor. We'll work on that a little bit.
Crossing swords is fun.
Don't cross the streams. That's bad, Egon. So, one thing I did neglect to mention at the top of the show, we do want to hear from you guys, our listeners. Hit us up on Facebook. The Guys Hiding from Their Wives Facebook page. Follow us on Twitter. It's @4guys. FOURGUYS, or email us. That is 4guyshiding@gmail.com. We do want to hear if there's something you want us to talk about, something you want to hear from us, if you just want me to just shut the hell up and let the rest of these guys talk, whatever it is, we want to hear it. Big special thank you to these guys for coming on board, and also a special thank you to Alex here. He is also our producer, which is why you can hear him, being the stickler for keeping us moving here, so we don't run it.
All shows, all podcasts, all radio shows, TV broadcasts, they all have a nickname for their producer, computer, whiz, stat guy, whatever, MVP they call them. We got to come up with a good nickname.
Juicy. We're going to get you shorts that say juicy.
You want me to wear shorts that say juicy on them?
Oh, yeah. It'll look great.
I don't know if I need to see that.
There is way too much male bonding going on.
Because especially if we get to the point where we start filming this, I don't think no one's going to want to see that.
Oh, no. I mean, people will want to see it because that's going to be all over the internet.
Kind of like Rodman in a dress?
Yeah. I think that if we get enough followers, we won't post Alex in...
How about that? How about that? Get out there, follow us on social media. Otherwise, you're going to have to see our lovely producer in his juicy shorts.
Yeah, please don't follow us because I totally want to do that.
No, please follow us because I really don't want to be the one that takes that picture.
Okay, yeah, actually.
No offense. Offense.
Okay, I'm going to act desperate now. Please just like us, follow us. I'm kind of
remember to smash that like button, subscribe, and leave us a comment.
Otherwise, TK is going to just start crying over here, and we don't need that. It's just bad news.
Yeah, they'll start calling me Puddles.
All right, but let's get back into this. We were talking about WWE's Money in the Bank this Sunday night. We talked about the men's ladder match. Why don't we talk about the women's ladder match?
So somebody you might know from a lineage you will know, Mike.
Okay.
Charlotte Flair is in the women's.
I know Ric Flair.
That's his daughter.
And I know his one son, Reed. And there was another son too.
David Flair.
David Flair,
And he
yeah.
died. Yeah.
He's passed away.
Okay, yeah. I
Rest
think
in
I did
peace.
hear that on the Rick. Tell you what, say what you want about wrestling. Them 30 for 30s, Ric Flair, that was awesome.
Amazing.
And the Giant on HBO, amazing. Them were good.
These guys are flat out entertainers, and that was actually the point I was going to make. You know, professional wrestling, sports entertainment, whatever you want to call it, gets a lot of hate. You know, people will be like, "Oh, they're not real athletes. They're, you know, this and that. It's all fake." Okay, I'm going to level with you 100%. Yes, I know that it's scripted. I know that the outcomes of these matches are known ahead of time. But to see what these guys do in that ring
It's not fair to call it fake.
sometimes 20 to 30 minutes at a time, it is totally unfair to call it fake.
It's still real to me, dang it.
Wow.
It's like Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny. Thanks for ruining that.
Spoiler alert. But it's true. These guys are phenomenal athletes. I mean, I can't even go outside and walk around for 20 minutes at a time. But I am a fat guy, but that's neither here nor there. For these guys to be going at it, you know, pulling off these physical moves, these athletic moves, jumping off of the top rope, running around that ring for 20 minutes at a time, it's phenomenal. And these guys are in incredible shape. And, you know, say what you will, it used to be there was a huge deal about steroids going on. We're not going to get into that. But even
Have you
these
seen them
guys,
guys?
now these guys are legit athletes, and I'm just going to go on record saying these guys are some of the greatest athletes in the world.
Okay, we were talking about steroids the other night, and you guys, I kind of agree with Mike on this. You can't tell me that you wouldn't do steroids if it guarantees you.
Your livelihood.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to tell you right now, if some HGH company comes to me and offers me to take steroids and it's going to make my podcasting better, boom, I'm on it. Stick that needle in me.
I mean, I only have an angry inch in my pants, so I got nothing to lose. It's only up for me here, guys. you know?
It's
Must be steroids and macaroni.
and a lot of the big names did. I mean, Bonds is obvious, but there's a lot of guys that were on the cusp every year of getting cut, losing their job, getting replaced by a younger, faster, you know, better hitter, and they took steroids. I mean, you can't tell me, oh, you want me to go get a job at a grocery store, or you want me to do steroids so I can get paid $180,000 a year?
It's a no-brainer for
What
me.
you gonna pick?
Exactly. Well, and they're, you know, to the athletes, relatively, it's a cheap insurance policy to, you know, that you can keep playing at a higher level each year that your body naturally can't do. So if I'm in their position, yeah, that's hard to say no. That's like going to a high school party, everybody around me is drinking, but I can't have a beer, you know?
And
Trevor, if you go to a high school party now, you're just that creepy uncle that, you know, you're
Yeah.
trying to hit on all the hot girls.
Dude, I look like I'm 10. I have
I was
the
gonna say you could fit right in.
Hey, He's
I
not
I
wrong.
can go to
He's not
Emory.
wrong.
I can go to elementary parties. Come on, man. You're just sad because when I look 50, I'm gonna look good.
You look juicy.
Oh yeah.
Okay, we may put Trevor in the juicy shorts.
All right.
We may have to put a poll up on our social media. for
Which
that.
one do you want to see?
Which
in the
one do you want to
juicy
see in the
shorts?
juiciest juiciest shorts?
One more thing, and I kind of piled on this too, and it's not really steroid related, but the Brett Favre issue. When he was going to retire, they drafted Aaron Rodgers to be his heir apparent, and Favre kept hanging on. He kept playing. He kept playing. He kept playing. And I was mad because they drafted Rodgers for that reason. He was going to play. But I totally understand why. He's been doing that his whole life. Since, junior high school, he's been playing football. And then all of a sudden he's just going to walk away and leave it.
Well, and who's to tell him that? Oh, you know what? We got the next guy up. You can't play the sport you love anymore. That's wrong. Let the guy play. Okay, he had some personality issues.
But him and the
with-
owners clashed because he was going to retire. He was going to retire a Packer.
Yeah.
And then he decided no. So they let him play one more year. He was going to retire again. He said no again.
But
And they
going-
had to get Rodgers in.
Well, going into this, the Packers, they had a lot of good years with Favre, but they knew when they got him from Atlanta, he kind of had personality problems to begin with, but he loves football. At the end of the day, you can't tell me that Tom Brady doesn't love football because he's played for so many years. I'm not a Tom Brady fan. Sorry, Jordan Buscarini. Sorry, Travis Anderson. But these guys, they love to play this game. And if they can still play at a high level, I mean, I'm almost as good as they are, but who's to say they can't? I say let the guy play.
Well, I heard before you jump into that, Mike, I did hear there's a comedian that has a comedy bit out about this, and he's talking about, okay, I can't do it anymore. I'm not good enough to be a starter in the NFL anymore. But you know what? I can be a backup. What does that pay? Oh, $1 to $2 million? Yeah, you can bet your ass I'm going to do that for about 3 or 4 years. Oh, when it comes time for that, am I going to retire? Well, I'm not good enough to be a backup anymore. Oh, put me on the practice squad. Pay $400,000 to $500,000? Sure, let me do that. It's going to happen. You're going to see one of these quarterbacks out there with his walker out in the pocket, and if you get behind an offensive line like Denver's had the last couple of years, this guy's going to get hit by a linebacker, and the guy's just going to explode into a pile of dust on the field.
Yeah, it was Daniel Tosh.
Well, and then you have guys, speaking of Denver and quarterbacks, you have guys that, like Brock Osweiler, they take big... You can't tell me the guy loves football. I'm sorry. He's there for a paycheck, and he got paid by Houston, and you can't blame the guy. He's not that great. He took a lot of money to go be a starter for a couple games and then ride the bench. I'd do it.
What does that say about Elway, too? Because he offered a little bit less than what Houston offered. He said, yeah, we'll pay you this much. They offered him a raise.
He was going to get paid from Denver,
he was going to get paid, and he was in the system. He was doing an okay job.
Well, he just won a freaking Super Bowl ring with them, for crying out loud.
And he went for the money, which I don't blame him. It's a business. It really is. But Elway had the insight to say, even though you're a Super Bowl winning quarterback now, you're not our future. You are not that great to where you can be our future.
No, and see, that's kind of leading into... we're getting off wrestling a little bit, but...
that's all right.
That's fine.
That's okay.
But Kirk Cousins...
Cousins?
Son of a bitch!
Cousins.
I don't know if... he is a guy that, granted, every year I feel gets better. But people are putting him as an elite quarterback in the NFL... And he wanted elite money.
He got it.
Yeah, and he got it now. But does he deserve it?
I'll be 100% honest with you. I think Minnesota was almost better off with what they had rather than going and getting Kirk Cousins. For my money, I think it's a coin flip.
I think it's the same person.
If you can keep a healthy Sam Bradford, I would venture to say that a healthy Sam Bradford is as good, if not better, than Kirk Cousins.
Well, and that's the
Not
problem.
Me. I'd take Kirk Cousins 10 times out of 10 over Bradford. I'm not a Bradford fan at all.
Well, and see, a healthy Bradford, I actually like healthy Bradford. I would take
Well, we wouldn't know because we've never seen it.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's Bigfoot.
Exactly. Well, Andrew Luck, the same way. He was supposed to be the next Peyton Manning. And when do the Colts give up on him and say, what have you done for me lately? You have sat out for how many years now because you haven't been ready to play.
The technology exists. Build him a robotic arm.
See, that's what happens with all the quarterbacks. Carson Wentz. Is he a Super Bowl winning quarterback? He's got a ring. Was he the quarterback? No.
Nope.
No, but in Carson Wentz's defense, I think he's actually better than Kirk Cousins is.
Absolutely.
But
also I think he's in a little bit better system too. A lot of it gets lost in the NFL these days about what kind of system these guys are playing in. You guys brought him up. Let's talk about Brock Osweiler. Sure, he didn't come out and do great things when Manning was injured his final season in Denver, but Osweiler came in and managed the game. He was able to do it. He was able to get him into the playoffs where, for whatever reason it was, they went away from him and put Peyton back in there. But, you look at it, he went to Houston, he went to Cleveland, and was complete garbage.
Well, I'll tell you what happened, and here's where, and like I said, the numbers are kind of skewed because I don't really remember exactly with Osweiler, but here's the thing. When Osweiler came in, no one had film on him. No one knew what he could do. Quarterbacks have always flourished when they've come in following a superstar. It happened with Marino. Scott Mitchell signed a huge contract with Detroit, and without Barry Sanders, they don't do nothing. But anyways, Osweiler came in for Manning. They had a solid defense. They had a good offensive line. They had a running game. Osweiler came in. He managed the game. He did great. But as soon as the other teams got film on him, he had that one game, I think it was against Pittsburgh, where he threw 5 touchdowns or something like that. But you look at his numbers, he had 9 touchdowns, and he had like 11 interceptions.
12, I think it was.
12 it was. But you take away that one game, what did he do? Every game, he got weaker and weaker and weaker, and teams picked up
because these
more
teams
and
were
more
and
and more.
you're going to see this happen with Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz came out and had a phenomenal year this year, and in my opinion, that is probably the reason why Philadelphia goes on that run that they have in the playoffs, and then they beat the Eagles in the Super Bowl or the Patriots in the Super Bowl.
But the Eagles had a good running game. They had a great defense, and
They didn't even have that bad of a passing game.
Yeah.
Compared
Well,
to the
you're not
Patriots.
losing a lot going to Nick Foles, but that was it. Nobody was ready for Foles. Everybody had watched all this game film on what Carson Wentz has done this year. Well, then Wentz is out with injury. You've got a relative unknown. I mean, he's not really unknown per se, but nobody really had any idea on what he was doing with that system, and they couldn't do anything with it.
Well, and another thing, you lead into the film. Yep, they're going to start watching what decisions the quarterback's making. And you go from Brock Osweiler, you look at, Cam Newton's first season with Carolina, they fit their system to the limited playbook that he knew, and they knew he could only make one or two reads, so they were doing a one or two read system. So he only had to look, at this wide receiver or this wide receiver. If he's not there, I get to run the ball. Woo!
Yeah.
That's what I'm good at.
With the Redskins, here's my one thought on Cousins. I think he is good because of this reason. Redskins had no running game whatsoever.
Well, the Redskins
They were
put nothing
terrible.
around
They started a new running back every week because someone wasn't doing their weight. They couldn't stay healthy. They couldn't make yards. Their running game was terrible. The receivers were average. If you want to go that far, they had that speedster, and he didn't do nothing.
Well, he's
Josh Doctson or whatever his name
Yeah.
is.
yeah. Well, and
It was Kirk Cousins that made that team a contender.
Well, so you're right. Cousins was good because he had to be good.
Exactly.
Well, and Cousins isn't a guy. All I look for if I am a team in the NFL right now, they ask so much of these kids that come right out of college that they expect to start day one. Really, all I ask out of Cousins at this point in his NFL career, don't lose me games. Don't put my team in a situation that loses me the game.
And that's not what Cousins does. Cousins isn't going to go out and lose you a game, but he's also not going to go out and win it. Kirk Cousins isn't going to take you on a 90-yard drive with 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter and win that game for you.
No, but that's when you have role players. And Minnesota has the role players on the offense that he needs to succeed. Now, if he can fit into the scheme is one thing.
Minnesota is solid all the way around.
Minnesota is tough. That defense
An average
is
quarterback
incredible.
could take that team far.
Well,
And,
you look at
and
the-
here's the thing. This is one thing I want to mention. We're talking about Minnesota is tough as a team. That defense last year was unreal.
Their defense was awesome.
Can
phenomenal.
you name me one player on that defense?
No, because
There were no stars.
No,
The
the
team
star
was the star.
Yeah, exactly. The star was the team, and that's Philadelphia's defense too. The star was the defense. I'm sorry, the offense didn't win Philadelphia that Super Bowl. Not at all.
It takes a lot to shut down Tom Brady.
It does.
That
It
was
does.
incredible.
And it is impressive. Anyway, I want to tell you my pick for the women's.
Oh yeah, we were talking about wrestling, weren't we?
yeah.
Wrestling! Back to wrestling!
I want to tell you my pick for the women's ladder match. I think.
Why don't you go ahead and read us who all's in it first? I mean, the listeners might want to know that.
Okay, so you've got Charlotte.
And if you don't, we don't care.
And if you don't know,
Our
now you're
opinions
gonna
matter.
know. My opinion is better than Ben's.
Okay. Keep
so
telling yourself that.
You got Charlotte.
Get those
Flair.
resumes coming in.
Yeah, you got Charlotte Flair. You got Ember Moon. You got Alexa Bliss. Ooh, Alexa Bliss. You Google her. If you don't
Great.
know her, Google her.
You won't be
I'd like
disappointed.
I'd like to Google her.
You've got Natalya. You've got Lana, Becky Lynch, Naomi, and Sasha Banks. And if I have to pick a winner, I am probably going with either Becky Lynch or Sasha Banks.
Okay, here's my feeling on the Money in the Bank ladder match. It's always been that person who's not in the main event scene. You know, because you've got guys just on the men's side. You've got your Braun Strowman's, I think, is in the main event picture regardless. I think Samoa Joe should be. I think The Miz should be. You know, this is guys. I'm looking at somebody like a Rusev, like a Bobby Roode, like a Big E or a Kofi Kingston out of the New Day to win it, because this is a guy. For me, the Money in the Bank contract, which if you don't know, we're going to give you a little bit of backstory. You've got 8 guys or 8 women in this match. There is a briefcase suspended from the roof, whichever it is, and it's a ladder match. You have to climb the ladder. First one to get that briefcase gets a guaranteed title match at any point in time over the next year. With 2 exceptions, I want to say, everybody who has cashed in that contract has won a world championship at that.
Okay, not everyone. There has been.
That's what I said. That there were 2 exceptions.
Yeah, I mean, there's people that haven't won it, and
also, one of them didn't win it against John Cena, so I mean that was almost like a foretold conclusion at that time. But
Super
that's
Cena.
neither here nor there.
Is the Undertaker still alive?
He is still alive.
No,
like the
wait.
Undertaker.
Well, hold on. He's not alive. He is
The
the dead
Undertaker
man.
has been the dead man for
yeah,
He has
30
been
some odd
seen.
He's been
He has
dead
been-
for a long time.
He's been seen.
Okay.
But and then this is kind of a fun topic we were talking about on our break a little bit. You have the women's championship match.
Your Raw Women's Championship.
Yeah,
match
Raw Women's
specifically.
Championship match.
It's a 2-branded thing.
And WWE has made it a point, which I like, to make the women a more prominent factor in
Absolutely.
in sports entertainment. They kind of went the same direction as UFC, and one of the big names in this is Ronda Rousey. She's the contestant against Nia Jax for the championship. And you know, Mike was talking about how Ronda Rousey kind of fell off after her losses, and you know, I think this is a big transition for her. I don't see how WWE lets her lose. This is her first real match, and I don't see how they let her
I
lose.
do agree with you, Trevor. I think Ronda Rousey is absolutely going to win that match. It would be hard for her not to. I don't know. I couldn't think of reasoning why they would not have her win.
I'll give you a perfect reason. It's her second match. Now, that being
she's
said,
a big
she
name.
is a big draw, and with the bookers doing what they do, that's why she's going to. I don't think she should. I think if you're somebody, and like I talked about earlier, that comes in and you're there every week, you're putting in your time, you're paying your dues, you're one of the, you know, you're being a safe worker with you, and you know the other guys don't mind getting in the ring with you, or the other gals in this case. You know, she's only been around for, I think, 5 months.
Well, and her only match was against the, you know, Stephanie and Triple H, and she had a partner to help carry it. So
I just don't think she's ready to be in the spotlight. But I also do see the reason why WWE as a business is pushing her.
You want
to
to hear a great analogy with that one, with Rousey not being ready? Remember the Ultimate Warrior? He was the heir apparent to the whole.
He was the heir
thing.
apparent to Hulk Hogan.
He was going to take Hulk Hogan's title and carry the WWF at that time to the next step, and he won the match. And his charisma inside the ring was unreal. I mean, he was swinging off the ropes, he was bouncing around, he was awesome. But when he got to interviews and when he got to the fans and talking and promoting the wrestling business, he couldn't do it.
No,
he was a mental case. He was a mental case.
It's a completely different story, and that's what you're going to have with a lot of guys. You know, there's been some big guys that come in that are phenomenal in the ring, but you try to put a microphone in front of them, and
They can't do it.
Well, you look at what WWE. I'm a big Brock Lesnar hater. I don't like Brock Lesnar as a UFC fighter. I don't like Brock Lesnar as a WWE entertainer.
How about a Minnesota Viking when he tried out?
I mean, Brock Lesnar on Minnesota who? You know, but you know what I mean. I don't like him as a person, really, because he does nothing for anybody except for himself. He's not good on the mic. He has to have somebody talk for him. But the problem I see is they could do the exact same thing with Ronda Rousey as they do with Brock Lesnar.
But
He's the world champion, and he shows up 1 or 2 times a year. He doesn't have to talk on the mic, and I could honestly see him doing that with Rousey because WWE booking is not the greatest anymore.
Okay, well, one thing about when they go to the MMA, like CM Punk, I
Yeah.
never seen him wrestle, but he went and got
Okay.
in the UFC the other day, and he got lit up.
He is
Both times,
completely
but-
outclassed.
But
the guy
here's the
has,
thing: Lesnar did too. Lesnar lost a couple matches, but he won. He was heavyweight champion for a minute.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: when they're going into the WWE the UFC from wrestling, they're a little older now.
Mm-hmm.
They have some skills. They have, obviously they have the skills to get there, and they're using their name to propel them to better fights and more money than they should be getting right away. They should go through the, as you say, pay your dues, and they should do it the right way and work your way up. And two, until you get that title shot. But I mean, Lesnar's second fight, he got a title shot.
Yep.
Yep. Well,
And same thing with CM Punk.
Well,
he's,
CM
fighting,
Punk-
he's fighting good names.
That's the only reason he was even promoted on that card is because he's CM Punk. The guy, and I'll go out and say it, and could I go out and do what they do in the UFC in the Octagon? Absolutely not.
I could definitely go out and do what CM Punk did, which is get my ass beat.
oh yeah, I could take a beating with the best of them.
I can take fists to the face with the best of them, right?
But CM Punk is just completely outclassed, in my opinion.
Did you
Prove
guys,
me wrong.
Did you guys see Herschel Walker's fight? He
I
fought.
didn't.
He fought a scrub, and it wasn't. I guess you wouldn't say it wasn't close because Herschel Walker did throttling pretty good, but it was competitive. The other guy got a couple shots in, and
Well-
Herschel Walker did wrestling.
Well, I'm sure it was better than the CM Punk fight, where
Oh, absolutely.
CM Punk got toyed with the entire time. The other guy's looking at his corner.
And Herschel started when he was like, I think they said he was 7 or 17. He started
Yeah, I
karate
think so.
and that kind of stuff.
And
So he's
Walker
been
was
around it his whole
he
life.
was a phenomenal athlete too.
And at 50,
For a big guy, and I mean, he wasn't a small guy. One of these
No.
little guys. He was phenomenal, and
And
now even at how old he is now,
he was
he's
was
still-
cut when he got in that ring. He was still cut. He
buddy.
was in great shape. But
What-
it was competitive. But the guy was a scrub. He was like 2-14 or some ridiculous record like that. I don't know what the exact record was.
Well, and it's guys like that scrub guy that that guy has been putting in the work and putting in the time, and this is what he's devoted to. That should get these opportunities that people, I like Ronda Rousey. I think she, in her time was a great fighter.
Well, and she's going to bring a lot to the WWE just
she's
because
still a
of who
great
she
fighter.
is.
Yeah,
she's,
she's
but she's
fantastic.
acting, she's wrestling, she's doing all the stuff. She got her butt beat one time, and then see ya.
Yeah.
Yeah, she nothing to take away from her. She was dedicated to the UFC, where my problem being with Brock Lesnar is his whole life
He's
after
not
wrestling.
dedicated to anything.
He's not
No.
dedicated to anything but a paycheck.
He has a different hobby every week.
Yeah,
to get
and
paid.
he's using his name, which I guess I can't blame the guy, but he uses his name to get what he wants. I just worry that WWE does the same blueprint with Ronda Rousey as they are Brock Lesnar. When guys, like the scrub guy or the lady that has worked since she was 13 years old to be in the WWE deserves these chances and deserves a name to, like
Yeah.
Ronda Rousey.
I'm tell you right now, if I'm Nia Jax, I'm pissed off as hell.
Exactly.
I'm livid because you know what? You know that she's going to go into this. She's been in the WWE for
Well,
at least a couple years
That's
now.
a code.
She's
you
going to
talk to
go
all
in
the old
there.
wrestlers, and they always have the code. You pay your dues.
Yeah, and that's just it. And you're going to go in there and in her second title match, whether she's Ronda Rousey or not, her second match, she's going to beat me for the title. If I'm Nia Jax, I say hell no.
Yeah.
I'm pissed.
Oh yeah, and that at that point, it's not worth doing all the time and all the broken body parts and all that they had to do. I'm not saying Ronda Rousey didn't pay dues. She did in the UFC. Okay, she's trained her butt off, but she cannot talk on the mic at all.
She's not
Well,
got no charisma.
No.
Charisma.
first time-
John Johnson.
Charisma.
The first time we saw Ronda Rousey in the WWE, she came out, said no words. She walked out for 30 seconds and pointed at the WrestleMania sign, and then boom, she had a match at WrestleMania. How fair is that to the people who come out and work day in, day and night,
Work their asses off for this
It's
company.
It's the money. It put butts in the
Yep,
stands.
that's just it.
That's what Ronda Rousey
Jane
does. She
Smith is
puts
not going to
in
put butts
seats.
in the seats, but Ronda Rousey is going to sell you tickets.
Even though Gene Smith might be able to talk better on the mic, she might be entertaining. Like Mike's never heard of Kenny Omega and Okada.
But they're two of the, if not the best wrestlers there are today.
And those are people. Okada's in Japan. In Japan, he's probably really good on the mic. I can't understand a word he says because
That's
Obviously,
racist.
we don't speak Japanese.
Yeah,
That's
I don't.
racist.
I don't speak Japanese.
You guys are racist.
But the art of wrestling in the ring to me translates.
Yep.
That's something I don't have to.
I don't
when I'm
have
watching,
to listen to these guys to watch that phenomenal match
Yeah.
that they put
Well,
on.
well, it's like watching soccer or hockey, or any of these international sports. I don't have to know what they're saying. I can look at what they're doing, and that translates. And I can tell if they're passionate. I can tell if they love the game. You know. Anyway, but
Yeah, but it's happened a lot though, because a lot of them wrestlers now were trying to be pro athletes at one time. They were college athletes. Macho Man played professional baseball.
Yep.
You know, in the farm club.
Bill Goldberg played football. He
Yeah,
played for the Atlanta
Goldberg
Falcons.
was there. Lex
Well,
Luger
there's
had
a lot of these
contract.
guys. We talked about him earlier. Rusev had a, somewhat semi-successful football career.
Yeah,
I don't know that he
it
ever made the
happens.
NFL, but he did play football in college.
I brought up The Undertaker earlier, but Mark Calloway, he was actually studying when he was younger in karate, MMA, jiu-jitsu. He was doing that, and when Lesnar did it, they asked him about it, and he goes, "I'm just too old." He goes, "I would get destroyed now." He goes, "It's just too old,"
Yeah.
and that's what happens.
But we are running kind of short on time, so let's run through these and give our quick predictions, and we can talk about World Cup predictions while we're at it, and then we got to wrap it up. So,
go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Jeez, time Nazi.
So I think WWE Championship match, last man standing, AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura.
it's got to be Shinsuke Nakamura this time for me. I mean, I think it's about time, and I think there's no way he can't win it in a last man standing match.
It's just time. I agree with you. I go Shinsuke there.
If they don't give it to him, it's because they don't trust him to carry the belt, and that's a shame because his in-ring stuff has been amazing. I don't like the whole low blow aspect of this. That was repetitive and old. I love AJ. He's my favorite, but Shinsuke deserves it.
I'm gonna go with Bret the Hitman Hart.
Yeah!
The best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be.
All right, your SmackDown Women's Championship, Carmella or Asuka?
Yawn. I think Asuka wins this. They're setting up for Asuka and Charlotte Flair at SummerSlam. That's really the only way in my mind that they can go.
I totally agree.
I could actually see them keeping Carmella just because she hasn't had it long. And Carmella's easy on the eyes. Asuka's better in the ring. But I think Carmella could keep it. I do.
I'm gonna go with Wendy Richter.
Yeah!
Your Intercontinental Championship, Seth Rollins or Elias. I think Seth
Seth
Rollins will most likely retain because he's Seth freaking Rollins.
Okay, I love Seth Rollins, but I'm going to walk with Elias. I think I like what Seth Rollins is doing, but Elias could benefit more from the championship run, so I'm saying Elias.
Elias would do well with a push, but I don't think he gets it at the expense of Seth Rollins.
I agree, but he could.
The greatest Intercontinental Champion ever in the history of wrestling, the Macho Man, Randy Savage.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I was very partial to the Mr. Perfect Texas Tornado feuds of the day.
I don't know, I'm sorry, but Chris Jericho.
I
Drink it in.
like Chris Jericho.
Man.
Yeah, you just made the list, by the way,
I like
Mike.
Jericho.
The list. Yeah, and I think we definitely are running a little bit out of time.
Jericho was one of the funniest.
I love it. He's still great.
His charisma.
His charisma.
I actually got to meet Chris Jericho. He actually did spit on me. It was awesome. I actually did see his rock band Fozzy at a
Fozzie's
concert.
great.
Fozzie's fantastic. I do apologize. I don't know that we're going to make it through all of these, and we'll touch base on it next week, I'm sure. If you will notice, we didn't get to a lot of baseball. It is a slow time again in the sports world in the summer, so we've got a lot of summer to go where baseball is pretty much going to be the only thing going on. Again, hit us up on Twitter at 4guys. I'm sorry, at Guys Hiding on Twitter. 4guyshiding at gmail.com. Check out our Facebook page, Guys Hiding from Their Wives. Let us know what you want us to talk about.
Give us a subject.
Like I said, we said that this is going to go not just going to be a sports podcast, but that's what it turned into tonight. Let us know what you want to talk about. I'm going to throw this out there. How about for next week? Guys, get something ready. Hit us up on our Facebook page, on Twitter. Email us. We want to know what your favorite sports movies of all time are.
Sports
you
movies,
guys
that's
put
a good one.
put them together. Give me a top 3. I don't care what it is.
And worst three.
I was going to say, are we going to do
Yeah,
top-
let's do the
sure,
worst.
Best and worst?
Best
Okay,
and
I'm-
worst.
And your best ones can't be sequels.
I
What?
think they can.
No, so like if you
Airbud 2 was amazing.
Yeah, okay. So if you
You
like
just ruined Trevor's whole childhood.
Yeah, there you go. So, like, remakes are okay. Like, the Bad News Bears had a remake. But if you say, like, Major League, you can't say Major League 2. Well, of course, we could say Major League 2 was, like, the worst movie ever.
It was close. It was close.
Yeah, let's go. Anything's open. Best and worst.
Make me look something
That's
up.
what we want to hear. Yeah, and that's what we want to do. We want to hear from you guys. Get us out there. Let us know what you want to hear, what we're thinking. Tell us what we're doing right. Tell us what we're doing wrong. If you think I'm just a fat slob who doesn't belong anywhere near a microphone, well, that's just tough shit, because this is how it's going to be. But you guys got any parting thoughts before we sign off for the week?
I just want to thank you all for hanging out with me. I know not a lot of people like to do that. And thanks for listening, guys.
And good luck, Carbon All-Stars, all the leagues, all the divisions. Good luck.
But one final thing before I should have done this at the top. I do want to offer a very special, heartfelt thank you to all the firefighters who are out there battling these wildfires.
It's
around
not wild,
the country,
it's controlled. I was told,
especially here in our local area, we're fighting one. It's just brutal. I want to give a special thank you to them who are out there putting their lives on the line for us. First responders, police officers, and
Servicemen
especially
and women
our military soldiers. We love you. Thank you for everything you do. I thank you from the bottom of my heart.
absolutely.
For Magic Mike, Alexander the Great, the lovely TK, the juicy TK, we'll give him that one. I'm Big Ben saying, hey, peace out. We'll see you next week.